times build character.
This isn't just a show, this is real life. It's not about how you start, it's about how you finish.
You gotta see it before anyone else can see it.
Every second, every minute, every day.
We train for life. We got you.
What's up, everybody? We are back here, episode number 6, The Relentless Way. Matt Strout, Paul Alvear here again from Relentless Training. We are coaches and leaders in the fitness world and in the world where we pride ourselves in human development. Today we're going to talk about leadership. We're going to hit a couple different avenues on it, really open our minds with leadership. How leaders lead is what defines them, is what we're going off of. One of our favorite topics, as all of them are. My favorite part about talking about leadership is that it's not as simple as that. It's not just leadership, right? People think that people are born leaders. A lot of people say, I'm a born leader. I was born that way. I was always a leader. It's there, but you have to make a decision and a choice at many moments when finding your role as a leader in all different avenues and aspects of life. So we're going to chat a little bit, talk about what kind of avenues we've taken, what kind of ups and downs we've been through as leaders and as role models, and have some fun. So what do we got today, man? What do we got today on leadership?
Well, I think one of the best things you said so far right off the jump is like you could have it felt inside of you off the bat, like where you feel like the willingness or ability to step up as a leader, but then at the same time, it's the forever game. It's like something that you have to keep working at. And then with that said, the cool part is if you don't feel that inside of you, but like you have the desire to become one, it's a skill that can be taught. You know, you can put time in. And I think for us personally, we kind of we're probably a good hybrid of both of those things. We're like naturally growing up, like we weren't afraid to like step up. Like I think one of the big things that I always trickle it down to is like little things add up to big things. And I think as leaders, you can never forget that you have to always remember the little things, you know, and like no matter how big you get, you have to still always be able to come back to being able to do the little things. And like you never separate yourself from, you know, getting too big and be like, oh, I don't got to do that anymore. Like you can't ever forget what got you to the point of truly being looked at as a leader. Because in the beginning, it's like you're doing these things, you're stepping up first, you're creating different, whether it be processes or different ways or styles to create thinking inside of your team or whatever it is that you're leading, right? And then at a certain point, it's like, all right, this is who we are, this is what we do, and then you start running. And I think that's where you and I officially have gotten to the point where like we love it, we know it, and we understand the importance behind it. And now it's about going above and beyond to constantly sharpen that tool. So it's about reading different books, watching different YouTube videos, listening to podcasts, and just constantly feeding that skill to constantly get better.
The next level. For me, it's like leadership starts with a lot of passion, right? So when you first have your moments of being a leader or being that captain or that person that's in the front, right? It starts usually in the front. You think as a leader, someone that's out front, everyone's behind them. They're either the best at what they're doing in the moment, they're the best on the team, they're the best in the group. And it starts with that. It starts with a passion because it has to come from somewhere deep inside, but then it turns into the next level, like you said, and navigating different levels of leadership in different directions and ways that you can lead, right? It's not always from a superior standpoint, right? It's not, a leader isn't a boss to me, a leader isn't not even like a captain in some senses, right? You know, when someone's a captain of something, it doesn't mean they're a true leader, right? We talked a little bit last time about influence is something that happens, right? You always have an influence. All your actions influence people around you, right? So if you're a captain, if you're a teammate, whatever you are, you're influencing someone at every moment. If you're a parent, if you're an older sibling, younger sibling, whatever it is, if you're in a position, you're always influencing somebody. but leadership becomes more of a decision, and we're learning that more and more as we grow through our movement. That's why we want to share this, because we're learning that every single day, from yesterday to a week ago to months ago, with our team, with our families, with everything, that leadership has to be a decision that you wake up every morning and you focus on those little things and decide how you're going to lead and what you're going to lead in every day.
I think too, like, you could boil the leadership down to almost like the decision makers in a way, like the problem solvers, because the reality is at a certain point things come to a head, and then it comes to the point where someone's got to start making decisions and start delegating and putting people in position to be successful. And that's a hard thing, right? Because now you have to think, well, what if I'm wrong? And I think that's one of the biggest things that people fear is to be wrong, you know. And I think one of the things that you and I, to complement what you said about the passion, is that we were so passionate and believed in ourselves, even when there was nothing real tangible for us to understand or see, but like we saw it over here in our vision, and we believed it so much that we just started stepping forward.
It's not about wrong or right. It's just about getting it done at that point.
Right? And I think that was like a blessing that we kind of have of like being so driven and motivated and not worrying about the repercussions, you know, in a calculated way.
Sure.
Like, obviously we made calculated decisions, like, but we didn't necessarily worry about like, oh, well, this failed. Like, no, like it failed, but it was really just a lesson for us to say, all right, let's not do it like that. Let's go back to the drawing board. Let's understand what happened. Let's reflect, and let's come back with a stronger plan now, you know?
We always said, like, we never wanted to have a plan B. Like, we never started off with a plan B. I remember from the beginning.
Never.
It was have that plan, that one plan, and understand that you could figure out a plan B. Like plan B is just what the navigation that happens through when you're leading, you know?
Yeah, plan B is a better way to get to plan A.
Yeah,
Plan B is just a little
I remember we always used to say that, like, there's no plan B. Like, it's just plan A and that's it. And anything else that comes with it is the adjustments and navigating through the whatever we have in front of us. Stories a little bit. Not really a story, but what along the way, I'm trying to think, what's like some key moments for us that it kicked in, like, or took us to that other level that you talked about. Like, it started off with the passion about the little things, something we truly, truly wanted. So it came to, you know, everything comes to headway, and it's like there's no other choice but to lead and be that person because you want it so bad. But what were some moments that we really, like, it clicked for us?
So this could obviously go to much deeper depths of explanation. I'm going to try not to go too deep and just hit points. But when we started this, it's like we knew what we saw, right? And I think in the beginning, it was hard for us to try to put that into others. And we were so protective of Relentless and what it stood for and what we were trying to do in recreating the industry and how it was perceived by other people. And I think in the beginning, we were too protective and we didn't want any help and we didn't want to bring anybody in. And basically what happened was, because we were doing good and passion was driving us, people were starting to want to become a part of the movement now. And then next thing you know, it got to the point where we were so busy we needed help. So we went from being overly protective because we wanted to protect and be like, not give even a possibility of there being a bad experience or something bad happening, to then being overwhelmed and needing help. So we got to the point where, like, people started stepping up. They're like, hey, I want to help out. Is there something I can do? And I kind of like this. So we're like, all right, well, we need help. So, all right, come on, just help us. And then it got to the point where it went from, like, micromanaging and being overly protected to then being so busy that we just needed help. So we allowed people in, anybody. And then it just got almost, like, diluted. And we're just like, all right, we have to stop for a second. And this is why I always credit, I've said it a couple times, but Jocko's book on the dichotomy of leadership, which, again, that word, I did not even know what it meant until I read this book. And the book justified for me the lessons that we learned just through
like how that happened.
I was like, oh my God, this is what we did. Because a dichotomy is two extreme opposing forces. So we went from micro to macro, and then we had to learn how to find the mid ground. And I think because, again, like you said, we wanted it so bad that we tried this, we tried that, and they both didn't work. So instead of being like, all right, well, maybe this isn't for us, we were like, we got to figure this out. So how do we find a sweet spot of being a driven leader that's not a tyrant or a dictator, right? That we we lead, I always like to say like King Leonidas, right? Like the 300 men who fought thousands of men, but we're in the front line with our team, in the trenches with our people, but we step first. And we look and we say, come on guys, we got this. And we step into unmarked, unknown territory every day. And I believe that that's important for the people who follow, because also at the same time as great leaders, we also know, and we're better at this now, but we know when to pull back and be led. A great leader should know how to be a great assistant. You know, a great speaker needs to know how to be a great listener first. And they start complementing each other. And I think, again, we were young, we were hungry, and we were very, we were young, testy boys just trying to get it. We thought we knew everything. And we had to figure that out, that we don't know everything. And we're always willing to be open-minded and learn. At the same time, we had to then figure out how to, like Jocko likes to call it, as decentralized command, right? So now it's about understanding the leaders that step up inside of our movement to then put them in position to be successful, and then they can lead a segment inside of our movement now. And that's where we're at now, is where we're truly, like we say, human development, not only for our community, but also to our team. And our team now, you start seeing them emerge, and they start having the passion and the drive to say, hey, I see us possibly adding this to the movement. We're like, all right, cool, what do you think? How would you do it?
Yeah, you could be
and
a leader in that
now
direction.
They start taking it, right? And I think that, for us, has been able to, and allowed us to now prioritize, which again is a very hard thing, where certain things are that we need to keep our hands on and be in control of, like fully, / let people in to assist, / actually take someone and put them in full control of a segment inside of it, and then always keep our pulse and understand everything that's going on. So it's definitely levels of growth and evolution inside of it, and it's a forever game. It's never ending,
It's, for us, it was the relentless phases of leadership that we went through, And if you're older, if you're younger, if you are a coach, if you're a teacher, if you're an administrator, whatever you are, there's a role of leadership that has to come into play. And you make that decision at some point to be that leader. And you will go through those phases no matter who you are, right? We could come up to a chapter in our life 5 years from now where we're taking on something else, right? Within the Relentless movement, and we have to figure out how to be, what type of leader we need to be in that moment. But what helps us is that we went through the experiences of those phases that you just covered, right? Of being too micromanaging, too over on top. But there's pieces of us from that point that we brought along with us to the extreme end of being too aggressive and letting people in and hiring fast and welcoming people to the team, and we want all members and anyone to sign up, and we'll do anything to get anyone in the doors, right? And be part of our movement, to finding a balance between both of those. And we'll go through it again when we're working on different things, Relentless Remote, right? Really with everything that went on in the world of going the direction of seeing how people are hungry to feel the human development and get better without maybe coming in the facility. And we're working on that now. So we're trying to figure out now what's the most important attributes to being a leader in that field, in that space. Anything from when we get more into sports specific, right? So it's just, no matter where you are, the point is you're going to have to find a balance of how to be that leader. And that could change from during the day, from different tasks to different people that you're in front of, your kids, your loved ones, your parents, like I mentioned before. That's the beauty of it, is like when you make that decision, there's not only one way to lead. You know what I mean? And I think we're learning that more than ever. And of course, everyone has you have your moments as a leader. And a big thing that we mention is that you have to be able to be led. You know what I mean? Like it's like any great at anything we do. A singer, an athlete, a performer, a financial guy, a stock trader. Like, you have to be able to learn and be led, right? And you have to be able to take that criticism, to gather that information, to be brought into uncharted waters, to learn more about yourself before you lead anyone else on. You have to go through it. So it's there in all of us. We all have moments when we're young in our journeys where we find ourselves being a leader, and that's when like the light bulb goes off and you're like, damn, like I'm cut out for this, like I thrive off this, like I feel this. And some people it's the opposite. They're like, I don't want to be that guy in front, or I don't want to be that person in front. And you know, this is the route I want to go, and that's fine too.
100%, yeah.
Something I want to really touch on is the dynamic of in life. You know, and listen, what we do every day is life, but in life, like with your family, with your friends, certain moments where things come up outside of your work world or whatever you're setting out to do every day when you so-called punch the clock, and you know, in your group, you may have certain people, if you watch closely, that take different roles. You know, if you have a good group of friends or a tight group of family, you come from a lot of siblings. I'm sure you're nodding your head right now, saying, "Damn, yeah, it's crazy." Like, if you have 5 siblings, I'm sure you know who's the leader, who's the role player here, who does this and who does that. And honestly, if it's a good dynamic, who steps up in certain ways, in certain times, in certain moments, right? Maybe when it has something to do with something that someone has more information on or has a better background on, that's when they step up and be the leader. And you being a leader have to be able to step to the side there and say, hey, I'm with you, I'm next to you now. You know, I'm not behind you, pushing you, telling you what to do just because I'm a leader and you're not, you know. So there's a lot that goes with it, you know. There's a lot of phases, a lot of ups and downs, but you have to make that decision to be that leader.
That's a really good point. I think a tool that I was blessed to hear along the way that I use, and we could probably do a whole separate segment on this, but it's called like editing a conversation. And I think one thing we all go through in life is like whether it be people we know closely, like our family and our loved ones, or acquaintances, friends, people that come along, you know, a lot of people want to add their 2 cents, okay? And they have something to say or something to add in on something, or you should do this, you should do that. And I think in the beginning, it was hard for us because we were in the jungle, right? We were figuring it out. We didn't know what we were doing. We were figuring it out. We were 19, 20 years old. We started a business. We had no clue what we were doing. We didn't know landlords, insurance, like all these things. We're having all these interactions. And I think at first, like, your first thing is just like what are you telling me? Like, what?
Guard up. You put your guard up.
Right? It's like, and we shut everything down. And I think we've had to learn how to, like, be able to take constant criticism and feedback and then have, like, a really strong filter. So, like, editing a conversation is understanding first where it's coming from and understanding first, obviously, listen to those words, but then having a filter or, like, another level of saying, should I take this into, like, should I actually apply any of this? Where is it coming from?
Should I respond to it in the moment?
Like, yeah, all these things, because the reality is like, you know, I respect everybody's opinion, but like entrepreneurship and self-development and like what we do is just a whole different avenue. So like for me personally, I would like to go and really get good feedback deep from someone who has kind of done something similar along those ways. Do I still listen to everyone and take it all in? Of course. But you could hear the tone when you know someone who has done what you're looking to do. You could hear the way that they speak differently and give it, and you start learning that along the way. So it doesn't mean you shut down anyone. It just means that you listen, you have conversation, and then you know what to do with that information. I think that was a big thing for me to learn along the way. And now to apply that out in the world, like you said before, is I think what this journey has done to me is it's built lots of confidence in myself to know that when no one else knows what to do and everyone's freaking out, I have the confidence to step up at any given time, and I will stay calm and I will find solutions under any circumstance. So I don't need to be first always, right? Like, you know, you go somewhere and like something's going on and everyone's starting stepping up. I don't necessarily need to be first. I'll almost step back at that point because I'm not necessarily the leader at that point, right? Like if we're at headquarters and there's chaos going on in there, you and I will step up, and that's us. Like that's looked at as us being leaders and step up. Out in the world, that could be cool for a second. I could step back, I could assess, I could listen, and if someone else could get it, I'm cool with that. I'm cool with. I don't need to be the guy, right? But when it gets to the point, and I know that nobody else knows what to do, and everyone's freaking out, that's when I'll step up because I believe that I've had my back against the wall and it doesn't scare me. I know how to take a deep breath and then start delegating, prioritizing, putting people in position for us to find a solution and get through that problem. 100%. And I think that's definitely come with time, but I definitely feel the best I've ever been with that. So it
goes back to being selfish and being selfless and making those decisions in those conversations. You know what I mean? That's a fun topic when we talk about receiving that feedback and editing the conversation back. And we brought it up over years and talk about it, and it's a tough thing. You have to practice it. You have to build on it. But it's a huge part of leadership too, because you have to be able to listen. You have to be able to respond in the right way. Because in that one moment, if you get that feedback and you respond irrationally, you're probably never going to get the time of day from that person again. And that's not what you want. That's not what you're looking for. You're just looking for quality, good information, and it to be from the right direction. Because there are people out there that deliver with intent to pick and to put you up there and expose you, right? Mm-hmm. In all fields, right? We see it all the time in sports and TV, with interviews, with everything. Everyone's looking to expose everyone, right? And show what's bad in that moment, in that conversation. If you could respond with different answers or more calm answers, it just proves that, hey, it's all about the delivery, you know what I mean? So you could tell when someone is delivering in a way of the true intention of the bigger picture with you, or when they're delivering more so against you. And that we'll get into that and talk about how to control and how to edit those conversations and those moments in your life, which happen all the time, every day. And that's a big part of leadership too, is recognizing in those moments, being able to swallow your pride, being able to use your pride in the moments that you know you need to be prideful, and the moments that you don't need to be prideful. Couple words that when you think leadership, you could just spew out.
Yeah.
We'll hit them hard, like
ownership, the ability to take ownership on anything.
One.
You first.
Give me a couple.
Decisive, confident,
one more.
this is like a phrase, but I'll say it anyway.
Yeah, hit it.
To have fear but no doubt.
I love it. Beautiful. So, give us your feedback. Share away. We're up on a bunch of different platforms: Spotify, iTunes. What else are we on? Amazon, Buzzsprout. Share away. Again, our goal is to deliver for these 15, 20, 30 minutes, wherever we get to, that we're delivering this information, putting it out into the world, starting with our Relentless family and showing you all the Relentless way and talking the Relentless way. We want it to be contagious. We want it to have purpose for you. So do not hesitate. If you could help someone in any way by just sending them this link, by sharing it over to them, it's a life changer. So do it up, crush your day, always stay attacking, and let's keep getting it.
Go get it.